Greetings, everyone. My name is Nick Rideout, and today I'm here with Becky Rideout and the Property Advisors of East Tennessee. This is the first episode of the Real to Real podcast show, where we discuss everything related to real estate, personal development, and overall great tips and insights of how to elevate our consciousness to live a better life. So today we're going to be discussing real estate, and specifically the top 10 things that you need to avoid as a home seller to get max return on your house. We see a lot of mistakes, and this comes from my past experience. The past 6 years I've worked as an agent, as well as helped thousands of people sell their homes through proper marketing. And then we also go on Becky's experience with how many years now?
11 years.
11 years of being a broker and absolutely crushing it with being one of the top agents in East Tennessee. So first off, let's go ahead and just take these 10 mistakes. And what is the number one thing people need to avoid? What I've seen in my experience is putting a lot of emphasis on open houses. I don't think that they're a super valuable tool in this market today in order to sell your home. What do you have to add to that?
Well, it could be a good tool if the agent is using it in the right way. Also, it depends on the market itself and the kind of the climate on whether it's generally a seller's market or a buyer's market. What it's going to do is your agent's going to put your house on the open house, and if there's a lot of people just out looking, then you might get some traction. And hopefully that would work. One thing that I don't like doing open houses for is security reasons.
Security. Talking about people coming in and
we just honestly live in a day and age where I want my sellers and their belongings to be secure. So if I do an open house, it is typically to get more visibility on the house. But I also really take precautions if I'm the only one there. Doing the open house, I try to make myself present in every room. You don't want somebody to come in and casing out your house, trying to see what's locked, what's not locked, and be careful of when you let folks in. I do have a sign-up sheet so that I can get some information and know who's been there in case of anything to go kind of crazy.
So is that has to be rare though? Like, does that happen often?
Does not happen often around here. I just take the
very safety precautions.
Yes, I just take a lot of safety precautions for my sellers.
And then even so, so we have all these different avenues for marketing. Like the open house, I know some people are saying that we have to have this open house. Like as soon as we list, we need to have it. Do you really see a lot of people coming in and new buyers? Do they actually come and buy off of an open house?
Well, not necessarily. You do get some general action and traction from it, but what's going to happen most of the time is your buyers are going to be in an agency relationship with their own realtor. Okay. Right. So that realtor is going to be watching the market. They're going to be watching what listings come out. That's going to be something that you as a buyer might be interested in. So they are really the ones to be on top of the new listings, not necessarily the buyer. That buyer had trusted you to really keep check on what's in and what's out of the market, what's gone under contract. So an open house per se could be good for the agent. It gives an agent a lot of exposure. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I'm not opposed to that at all, especially for new agents out there and even sometimes seasoned agent. I'll tell you what, the best way for me, I've seen is an agent open house, is to allow that.
Broker open houses.
A broker open house definitely allows them to come in and preview the house should they have a buyer working in that price range or maybe future. So allowing an agent to come in, maybe feed them lunch, that definitely has its benefits.
Yeah, I like it. All right, on to number two.
Number two.
So the second one that I have is going to be not doing listing photos. And this is a pet peeve of mine, not just because I am a professional photographer and I've done this for years, but any time that you do not have professional listing photos on the MLS, it does not represent your home as best as it could be. At that point, you got to think, where are all of the buyers coming from today? Zillow, leads from your realtor, they will find the house and bring it to you. They're searching on the MLS to find these homes. And that is going to be the best representation of the house.
Yes.
I've seen this one mistake costing people $30,000, $40,000, even $50,000 on their listing price in their home. Are you seeing that more often?
I'll tell you,
where's the marketing at?
When I see that, I want to say to myself, why agents, we can do better. we can make that call to a professional photographer. There's plenty out there. Get your seller the best representation of your house ever. And I know that it's really easy to take photos with your cell phone, just get it up there. It's just not fair to the seller. And what I would also say with that is when we have skewed photos, what would a professional photographer call that when things are way out of proportion?
You talk about just when they take like a vertical picture of a house?
Yes.
I don't know exactly what to call it. We just call them shit photos.
It's terrible. It's terrible. And so that just gives the wrong impression of a house overall. Yeah. And what I'm also seeing, I love twilight photos. Don't get me wrong. I think they're great. But when that is the first picture that comes out and that's the first picture that a buyer sees, that's not true representation of the house. You're basically forcing them to look through all the photos until they come across the one that they need to see for their own viewing. Yeah. So I do think professionalism and getting that, you have one chance to make a good first impression. Let's do it right first time.
Right. Yeah, get the house looking good.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
That's a no-brainer. Definitely photos. That's one mistake to avoid is if your agent comes in and starts taking their cell phone to take pictures, they're doing you a disservice. And that comes from me seeing this over and over again. Thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars are lost from that one mistake. So we want to avoid that one.
Yes.
Going on to number 3, I have on here staging. So what are your thoughts on staging?
Well, okay, that depends on the market and, of course, the house itself. I think staging is very, very helpful when you've got maybe an odd design. And if you as an agent cannot go in and kind of picture how to set things up, absolutely get the house staged. If it's a typical 3-bedroom, 2-bath, general layout, I don't think it's that necessary unless there's just something real quirky about the house.
Right.
What I would suggest if you have to stage, I know that we have some really good stagers out there, but if cost is a concern, then why not use some virtual staging?
Yeah, that's huge. That's become very popular.
Yes.
Yeah, staging is one of those things that really is going to be house dependent. I truly think that it depends on what price range are you selling in and who is going to be your ideal buyer. If your buyer's coming in and they don't have like a clear imagination of what the house could be, or again, the funky design, then you might want to set it up to give them a proper visualization, and that will help to sell the home better. So staging wise, I think it is one of those things to understand your home a lot of times. And what about this market specifically right now?
Well, I'll tell you what, if you as a home seller go back and think about when you purchased the house and what drew you to the house. Of course, it may not be that way for another buyer. However, if it was already furnished when you went and purchased it, that may have given you a visual, more open outlook to the house. Mm-hmm. If you have no furniture in the house, now when you're selling it, we might want to go ahead and put some furniture in it, or like I said, virtually stage it.
Yeah.
But really, I can tell you also, back during the pandemic, staging wasn't necessary. I mean, people were buying things sight unseen, staged, not staged, you name it. But I think we're in a different market now to where I think it's really going to depend on the location of the house and the overall climate of that community. Mm-hmm. Whether we need to stage it depends on the buyer. So think buyer coming in.
Think buyer. That's huge. Yes. And going off of that one, this is actually going to be the biggest thing to avoid is going to be pricing.
Oh, yes.
The pricing mistakes.
So this is really hard for me because I look at houses every single day, as most agents do. And what I hear a lot is I want to price it for this amount. And my conversation with the seller goes like this: I understand, and we're going to get you the maximum amount for your house that the market tells us that it's worth. If you overprice that house out of the gate, you're going to set yourself up for days on market, which leads to more cost associated with the house, because you're also going to upkeep your house with insurance, utilities. Your carrying costs outweigh what you probably could have saved by putting it in the market the right price at the get-go. Then I have a seller say, well, I just want to put it on the market and see what happens. Well, I can
see what I
tell you
get.
what will happen. It's going to sit there.
Yeah.
It will sit there. And then you're going to blame me for not selling your house.
Yep.
So I would rather go up front and say, disclaimer, I want to tell you what your house will sell for in the market. If we do go over that, be ready to come down real quick.
Yeah, because you understand the market.
Yes, I completely understand the market. And in the region, this market in the region is it shifts a little, but overall, I think we have a good solid market where I can go into just about any area in the Upper East Tennessee and tell you what's going to sell for what price, really good for everybody.
Yep. I'm telling you, and pricing, one of the big mistakes that I have seen is that we homeowners tend to get very emotionally attached to their home or their property.
Yes.
Which makes sense. Like, you've lived there for years. You love this property. You care a lot about it, but the market doesn't care what you think. It doesn't care what your thoughts are on what the price is. If you think that your home is worth $1 million, but it's actually on paper, the numbers tell you it's worth 700, you're not going to get $1 million out of it. And I'm sorry to tell you that, but if that's what your imagination's telling you, it's not going to happen.
There's expectations and then there's realizations.
Yeah.
And so I think if you're working with a good, experienced agent, they're going to definitely let you know those things up front. And pricing and emotions, they can play a big part. I've always said people are funny when it comes to money. And when you're living in your house, that emotion takes precedence.
It does.
So let's get back down to why you're selling it and the reasons behind that. Then I think you'll get along with me a little bit better. We get on the same page.
And it makes it for a very smooth transaction.
Very
as well.
smooth. Yeah. But your neighbor and your uncle and whoever else may have sold, last year may have gotten this amount. Mm-hmm. It does not always project in the here and now. So let's take
the same thing about location, right? Talking about
yes,
your house. Take the same house, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, $300,000. You put it in the city. That's what its cost is. If you take it 10, 15 minutes out, put it into a county place, different neighborhood, different school system, that same house could be $50,000 less.
It could be, depending
you
on
the
the
think
schools.
About that.
The value of a house, to me, and to a lot of sellers out there, buyers, the value to be in a certain school district is very high priority.
School district, especially here in this community.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. We have some great schools in the community in Greene County and surrounding counties. And I know a lot of preferences are on specific school districts.
Yeah.
If you were raised in a school district here, for instance, you may want to consider a house in that same district and you would want your kids to go there. So that right there says a lot about a home buyer. And schools right now, I think, are very important, especially coming off the pandemic and what we had to see with kids staying at home and that sort of thing. So everybody has their own personal priorities. Location, very, very key.
Very key. All right. Well, that's that one. Now, next mistake to avoid. I've got on here national versus local brokerage. And this mistake that I see people making. So as sellers that I've worked with, they say, why should I not just choose the national brokerage? Why should I have the local one? There's a big misconception with that. It's not the brokerage that's selling your house. It's going to be the agent that's selling your house.
Yes.
And the agent is doing all that work, right? There's all these tools in the marketing, but the agent is going to be the one selling it, most likely over the internet or from their list of contacts.
Right.
So it does not matter if you are a national brokerage or if you're a local one. I would go as far to say that I would say that a local brokerage is going to be at a better service to you because those agents know this place inside and out and they have a heart to help you as well.
Well, we have a lot of good agents in the area. I have to say this actually just happened not too long ago. I had a seller want me to come out, take a look at the house, and then all of a sudden call me and say, no, they're going to go with an agent that's probably 100 miles out, actually. And what that tells me is really I would say consider all of it. If you are more concerned with a national brokerage, then that is your priority, then go for it. Me, however, I know the area. I talk to people. We're in the community. We are paying attention to what goes on out there in the community. And not only that, your kids and their baseball teams or soccer teams, we're out there supporting them, not the agency that's 100 miles away. We're here in the community. We're invested in this community. As far as marketing, my tools of marketing are going to be the same or better than the other marketing goes on. I pay attention to all that.
Move your mic closer to you a little bit, please. Cool. Make sure people can hear you. Yeah. So that's my insight. And the big mistake with that. And when I say national versus local brokerage, it doesn't matter about the name per se. It's going to be really about the person who's selling the house.
It is completely.
But the big mistake that I see is that if you go on and sell your home through Zillow or Real Homes or whatever's open doors, that's been an issue, right? Because they're not getting as much traction in their houses compared to an actual agent selling it. In the future, that may change because there is going to be a lot of different things with AI coming in, these big corporations. But right now, their systems aren't really as efficient as a true person can be.
Unfortunately, that is true because that system that you're speaking of, that a low-cost brokerage is just that. That low-cost brokerage is costing you a lot of money because they're not in tune with the community.
Yeah.
They're not out there talking on your behalf.
And knowing that neighborhood.
Yes.
And who lives around in these neighborhoods.
Yes, that's definitely a big misconception, sort of like the for sale by owner. I see a lot of for sale by owners have success, a lot not.
I've got that on here too. Another mistake to avoid is for sale by owner.
Right. That could cost
I've seen this
thousands of dollars.
Well, so there's this beautiful home back in Nashville. It was, I think, 3-4 million. Guy, very intelligent guy, absolutely respected him a lot. But he was doing a for sale by owner. At that price range, he thought that he could market it well. He thought that he could get the right amount of money for it. He thought he had everything right. But that home side of the market for a year later is still there on the market and nothing changed. Mm-hmm. And you got to think about that. An agent is going to know and understand that whole transaction behind that you don't have the insight to. Like a lot of people, very smart if you're first of all a homeowner. I respect you for doing it. But at the same time, that's not like your full-time expertise.
Exactly.
A lot of times, like, talk about me with weight loss and people. Everyone needs a coach for this stuff. I have a coach for this, right? Even though I coach people, I have a coach. Same mentality comes to for sale by owner, for sale by home, for sale by owner. FSBOs. That's what I call it.
FSBOs.
But anyway, yeah, it costs a lot of money to think that you understand it better than what somebody does every day does.
Well, and that is true because what your agent can provide you are definitely comparables that you don't have all the access to know exactly what your market's worth. You could be losing money by selling for sale by owner. But not only that, your agent is there to protect you. And a lot of that comes with disclosures and things that are going to be down the road. They're going to be able to protect you when you're not thinking about those things.
Right.
So protection and cost, absolutely. Find an experienced agent and get them on board with selling your house.
So talk about disclosures.
Yes.
Another mistake.
Yes.
This is a big one. This one gets people screwed a lot.
Well, I'm seeing a lot of this happening these days.
Yeah.
Is when you...
Can you go and describe what I'm talking about here?
So Tennessee residential disclosure, a residential property disclosure.
PCR.
PCR.
Yep.
But Tennessee requires you to fill this disclosure out. And it's basically a 5-page document that you go through. You check things that you have. You check things that you don't have. Also, you need to disclose anything that is wrong or has been wrong with the house. Mm-hmm. So major things, things that have a major impact on the sellability of the house, such as, foundations or anything that could be not just a minor repair. I mean, obviously people are going to have those, but if it has an effect on your home, then you need to put it down.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah. I've seen over and over again, like there could be like somebody says that there's this damage was not done, or like oh, I didn't know about that in quotation marks. You knew about it. That's going to cost you on that back end, and there can be law implications if you don't
I believe
disclose your
you're
information.
certainly right about that. I've seen a lot of lawsuits in the last year
Yeah.
pending.
Becoming more prevalent. Yeah.
But it's becoming very prevalent. You can go on the Tennessee real estate website and just look at the amount of pending lawsuits that are out there right now and for not disclosing something.
And that will cost you a lot of money and a lot of stress and heartache.
Yes.
That is a big mistake to avoid.
If I could say anything to a seller right now is disclose, disclose, disclose.
Yeah.
If you don't think it should be on there,
Put it on.
put it on there anyway.
Yeah.
It never can hurt. It's going to be there for protection for a long time for you.
Yeah.
So
Keep it up front.
absolutely. Yeah.
Was it darkness cannot exist in the light? So
Right.
anything
exactly.
that happens, put it out there.
Put it out there.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I got one more on here. This is one that is like a pet peeve of mine because of the thousands of homes that I've been in. It turns me off anytime I go in one. If they're not clean. I can Now I will say there's a difference between being messy and being clean. You can have a lot of stuff. You can do any of those things. But if your home is messy, it's dirty, it's got cat hair everywhere, it's got dog hair, there's dust up everywhere up on the ceiling fans that looks like it's not been dusted for years. That a buyer walking to your home and seeing that stuff and even having smells is going to instantly be a turn off. And they don't care how good your house is or what's going on. They'll walk away.
Wow.
I would walk away because I get sick.
So sometimes I know that things cannot be avoided. Some things are just happen to work itself out that way. Now I will go into my sellers and we will talk about those things up front when we are talking and doing a pre-listing sit down. Okay. We'll talk about keeping your house clean, keeping it free from obstructions. You definitely don't want things in the floor to have trip hazards or safety issues. And you want people to be able to see the house for the house, not your stuff. You're not selling your stuff. You're selling the house. So trying to declutter is the first thing that I always tell folks. And if you're not using it, put it in a tote and pack it away. Just go ahead and get it out there.
I always say make it sterile. That's what I tell people.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm like, you want to have nothing. This is a little obsession. I go to extremes. I know
Yes,
this
you
about
are.
myself.
You definitely.
But if somebody walks in, or if I walk into a house and I'm taking pictures, right? If I was doing that, they ask me, "Oh, do I need to remove this?" I'm like, "Yes, take it out." I always say,
I have noticed that.
when
with
in
you.
doubt, take it out.
I have noticed
Get
that
rid of
every
stuff.
time we've done a listing photograph, and you're there on site, and you're like, "No, move it, take it away, put
it
it,
away.
hide it. I don't care. I don't want to see
It's also
it."
made me realize that I don't like stuff in my life.
Yeah,
because
you're definitely
the amount of stuff that we carry.
minimalist nowadays.
I know. Like I just want to have a backpack, and that's pretty much it. Because
Yeah.
of seeing all this stuff that is accumulated over years, and it
Yeah.
becomes a burden on people. Like you have your garage packed with things. You have the attic packed with things. You've got 2 storage units over here. All that stuff does weigh on you, and that's like a big thing that hurts.
It's true, and we have become a society of material items.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and you're lucky that I don't have a bunch of stuff that I'm going to leave you to unpack.
Thank you.
During the next part of my life.
Yeah.
I feel like that we have a good amount of usable things.
Yeah, usable items are great when they're usable. Like a
Usable.
laptop, the value you return from a laptop is huge. I'll take that. But like this little trinket here, like you don't need it.
Except for the stuff that you made for me when you were a little
Baby
kid.
items.
Yeah, all the
Yeah.
baby items. My mama
enough.
heart can't take not keeping all those. And but yeah, please just put things up when
yeah.
not using them.
Clean up the house.
The house, and just take pride in your possession. That's the biggest investment of your life, most likely. And I want you to sell your biggest investment for the top dollar.
And if you want a top dollar, you clean your house.
Yeah,
And you make it clean.
you have an obsession with dust bunnies and all that. Those
I'm not
things.
that far. I'm not that far.
Okay,
I'm not that bad. You're pretty bad about those
the
details.
smells.
Smell?
The smells really, because I have a nose like a bloodhound, and so
So you know what
I
people be
don't-
up to.
so I don't think it's necessary to put in a very loud air freshener. That can be almost as bad
Ooh.
of a turn
Oh,
off.
it's like stuffy. Or like somebody who's like a lot of perfume on or something.
Well, just that really loud, because a lot of people are allergic to those air fresheners and
That's
they
true.
get up in your nose. So, that brings up another point. For instance, if I'm shopping, let's say buying those trinkets,
Trinkets, of course.
I would like to have a more even temperature, not too hot, not too cold. Think about when somebody's in your house. Well, check the temperature and gauge that on how you would feel if you were in there as well. So you want to make it comfortable, especially in the summertime when it's blazing hot. Please put your air conditioner on.
Make it chill.
Make it chill.
Make it be a breath of fresh air when they walk in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe if it's not too hot and you want to open a window to get some fresh air in, that'd be great too. But when you are a home seller, think about what you did when you purchased the house, how you felt.
Great.
So emotional. I don't care if you're moving across town or across country. Selling a home is an emotional experience. And that is what I try to talk to agents here, is we want to be that, try to take some of that alleviation of worry and emotion off of you. We want to guide you through the process as smoothly as possible.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. That's all my notes today about the mistakes to avoid.
Well, I'm glad we got that out there.
I think this video easily saves somebody thousands of dollars.
I would hope so.
Hope that's a good return.
Choose wisely out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of new agents and a lot of good ones coming on board here. I'm very happy and wish everybody the success. And we'll just keep trucking.
Well, yeah, so that's it for this one. We're going to talk about different ideas, of course. And if there's anything that you want us to make a video on, please let us know down in the comments down below. Like things that I'm obsessed about and things that I'm expertise in. I talk a lot about nutrition, talk about a lot of weight loss, personal development. How can we live a better, higher quality of life in the least amount of time spent possible so we can spend more time with the people that we love and doing the stuff that we love? That is what I'm obsessed with. Beyond that, real estate, obviously have a lot of experience here, and we can talk about that all day long, which it probably will be. But Becky, is there anything that you would...
Well, I will tell you, when we talked about doing podcast, it actually came to me in a dream that this would be called Real to Real. I want to get the message out there, not just about real estate, but real subjects, real topics, real life talk. So yeah, I'm open to doing a podcast on.
Is there any bullshit people going through?
Yeah, real
Make
life.
it real, yeah.
Let's keep it real.
Cool. All right. That's it. Thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned. We'll be back with you next week. See you, everyone.
Bye.